Into the backcourt to D. Brown.
Both teams starting the game out in man-to-man for Washington. Bobby Jones, perhaps their best defender, long and athletic, guarding D. Brown.
Wide open outside is Augustine, who can shoot that three-pointer. There come the Huskies. Beckman and Brockman, two freshmen in the starting five for Washington. Both made all Pac-10 freshman team. Brandon Roy, the All-America, hits his first attempt.
Every time down, Washington wants the ball in the hands of Brandon Roy. Arguably the most complete player in college basketball, being guarded by Brian Randall, one of the best defenders in college basketball.
Here's Jones, the top defender for Washington, on D. Brown. Inside it goes to Augustine. Can't hit the bank. Rebound Pruitt. Trickles off, and Dentman clears.
Washington will not be able to allow second shots to Illinois. They were fortunate not to get scored upon there.
Roy inside. Look at the body control. Brandon Roy, the first 4 points of the game.
Brandon Roy has an unusual feel for the game. He's not only very skilled, he's very smart as well. And he is going to be a handful for Randall to keep up with.
D. Brown fires a three. It's off the mark. Tipped out by Augustine. Out of bounds to Washington. This game brought to you in HD TV by Harris Corporation, the world leader in broadcast systems for high-definition television and mobile media.
Well, with that high definition, you are getting a very clear look at one of the best players in college basketball. I think top 5 in Brandon Roy. There's not a thing on the basketball court he cannot do.
Leads his team in scoring, over 20 a game. Leads them in assists. Voted the back 10 player of the year, and Jensen's pass goes out of bounds. Here's a quick look at the starting lineups for this game. Jensen, Brockman, Jones, Dentman, and Roy for Washington. Pruitt, Randall, Augustine, McBride, and Brown. Augustine and Brown, the two seniors, with 114 wins in their 4-year career at Illinois. That's an all-time Illini record and only one shy of the Big Ten mark.
Both these teams very similar in makeup, with the exception of Illinois being a little bit bigger inside and stronger inside. Washington a bit younger, with Brockman and Dentman, freshmen in the starting lineup.
Under 10 on the shot clock as Brown makes his drive. It's short. Illinois kept it alive. That's the second time they've not been able to get the follow shot. Dentman, a little change of pace in with the big guys and draws the foul. Trevor. And there he is, Bruce Weber, 49 years of age in his 3rd year. It's true to his talent on the bench. His Illini team trying to make it to the Sweet 16s. You look at Lorenzo Romar, the Washington head man. If Illinois gets to the Sweet 16 with a victory today, it'll be the only team of 2, Duke being the other, in the last 3 years to get to the 16s. And the Illinois program the last 6 years, no team has won more games in the country than Duke. Duke being the other, with the Illini second. Dentman.
You know, this young man, Justin Dentman, just made those 2 free throws. Has got to be very excited playing against the University of Illinois, growing up in Carbondale, Illinois, where he went to school with Bruce Weber's kids. Weber has known him since 5th grade.
Deep in the corner is Rich McBride to hit the 3 after the Illini had started 0 for 6 from the floor. Jamal Williams' first attempt won't go down, and a whistle underneath. No foul. It's out of bounds to Washington. Here comes Ryan Appleby, the best outside shooter for the Huskies. He replaces Denton.
A transfer from Florida. Really a good shooter with deep, deep range.
Speaking of Florida, congratulations to the Gators and the Blue Devils, the first 2 teams into the Sweet 16. Victories earlier today. Augustine with that long arm in the face of Williams. And the long rebound right back to Augustine.
Williams always looking for that offense, and this is where Washington has to be careful in transition. This Illinois team deadly in transition.
McBride, a clear path to the goal. As Washington scores the first 6 and Illinois the next 5.
I think that's a shot, Dick, that McBride would have taken from the corner earlier this year. Now more of a driver and much more of a versatile player. He's really come along.
Brockman misses his first attempt. Long pass to Augustine. That's what the Illini will do. He runs the floor so well, James Augustine, at his height, and gets the lead from Brown. Can't hit, but is fouled by Appleby. McBride, all 5 Illinois points. Welcome back to Cox Arena in San Diego, and a look at the Washington, D.C. bracket, and the winner of this game will move on to the Sweet 16 against the victor of that Connecticut-Kentucky match tomorrow.
The seeds holding in this part of the bracket, and Connecticut not looking like its normal dominant self against Albany. Give credit to the Great Danes. But I think their interest level will be a lot higher going against Kentucky.
At the line for Illinois, James Augustine, the senior from Mokina, Illinois. And he ties it at 6.
Well, you called it, Dick. He's an extraordinary runner of the court. Really gets up court, and you can see that has led to a lot of winning. Dee Brown and James Augustine combining to be the winningest pair in Illinois basketball history. And with a couple of more wins, they could be the winningest players in Big Ten history. That's quite an accomplishment.
7 unanswered points for Illinois to take the lead. Williams to Roy, not a good pass. Roy hits the deck, and here comes Dee Brown. McBride from downtown. Williams able to tip it to himself, and then does he save? No. Randall. And Randall has his first points.
Well, you credit the hustle from Jamal Williams, but you don't want to save the ball under your opponent's basket.
9-0 run for the Illini. Jensen, a good outside shooter, can't hit his first attempt from three-point range. And the one-man fast break, senior Dee Brown on the charge here.
Well, Washington has got to make a more concerted effort to get back at conversion.
Brown. And Brandon Roy pulls down the rebound.
Brown is rushing his shots, not squaring his body. That's why he's having trouble scoring.
Jensen misses again from outside. Illinois number 4 in the nation in scoring offense. Illinois number 9 in scoring defense. We'll see who prevails today. And hitting the deck again is Roy, and grabbing the back of his head as he took a pretty good bounce.
Williams going after the ball. You credit the hustle, but he saved it right underneath Illinois' basket. And Brian Randall, the versatile sophomore, the lefty, able to convert that. And Brandon Roy, the second time he goes down. And it looked like he hit Marcus Arnold's knee with the back of his head.
And a foul was called on the play, Jay Billis. James Augustine picking up his first.
Brandon Roy might need a helmet in this game as hard as he's been hitting the deck.
Justin Duncan has returned for Washington. He sets up Williams. Oh, Washington shooting from outside. They're not only not hitting, but they're not close. That's going to be a travel. Warren Carter, who came off the bench and delivered 12 points against the Air Force in Illinois' victory 2 nights ago. His first opportunity travels.
Illinois really looking to push the ball up the floor. Not a great decision by Dee Brown. Usually passing ahead the right thing, but you don't want to pass it to a big guy where he's got to put it on the floor on the dead run.
Huskies have missed their last 6 attempts. Jensen hits the 3. And the game is tied at 9, and that ends that run of 9 straight by Illinois.
Well, it was a quick shot, but in much better rhythm than the last few jump shots taken by Jamal Williams.
Carter can't hit the short jumper, and here comes Dentman on the fly. The Huskies like to push the ball quickly up court. They're a high-scoring machine. Williams can't hit. Look at the hands of Roy out of the pack that had the dribble for a while, and then the tie-up. Timeout called by Arnold before the held ball was called. It's a 9-all score early here in San Diego. 9 here in San Diego. Just under 13 to go in the opening half. As these two teams on the road to the Final Four are trying to take that side road to the 16s.
Washington, a very good defensive team. They like to overplay on the wing, so Illinois is going to have to make a few passes before they attack. Move the defense from side to side.
Inside is Randall, a great leaper, got good position. He has 4.
Coming off that little high post screen on ball reversal, and Randall, the left-hander. As he becomes a better scorer, you're going to be looking at one of the best players in college basketball because he can really defend, really run the floor, and really finish.
Detman gets around Jamar Smith, who was just in the game. The freshman Smith, watch him for Illinois. He is shooting 50% from outside the line. Had 20 points in the victory against Air Force. Look at him keep the ball alive, and finally Jensen pulls it down for Washington. Here come the Huskies, tied at 11, 12 to go in the first half. Ryan Appleby got the open look, and Washington forges a 3-point lead.
That was all created by Justin Denton. The hesitation move, the crossover past Carter, drawing the defense and setting up his teammate Appleby.
Denton hustling into the backcourt and forces the turnover. D. Brown can't believe it, nor can Bruce Weber.
That was quickness on quickness.
And with it a timeout, 11:35 to go. Ryan Appleby drills the 3. Huskies in front. A look at the game summary here in San Diego. Both teams off to a cool start in their shooting, even on the boards, although it seems that Illinois has had more action on the boards. And Roy with 4, McBride for Illinois with 5. And Appleby's 3-pointer gives the Huskies the lead at 14-11. Brandon Roy, a rest now here is Lorenzo Romar. In his 4th year up in Seattle, he played for the Huskies, graduated 25 years ago.
With Roy out of the game, Justin Denton is going to have to take more responsibility on his shoulders.
Here in San Diego, the Huskies with a 3-point lead, battling on the boards, and Jamal Williams gives Washington a 5-point lead. 11:15 remaining in this opening half.
Washington undersized as against this Illinois team, and they're going to have to gang rebound to win.
Cleared by Joel Smith into the game for the first time, a 6'4" sophomore from Lompoc, California. Inside, Jamal Williams. And in an effort to try to improve position as a shorter player, the foul is called on Joel Smith.
The ball going up on the glass, and the smallest man on the court, Justin Denton, with the first rebound. Keeping that ball alive was Jensen, and the interior scoring of Jamal Williams will be a key in this ball game. He's not been able to get any clean looks at the basket thus far, but you know he's going to keep shooting.
It's been a game of runs. This is the 3rd. Inside to Pruitt. Rebound Denton. Washington scored the first 6, Illinois the next 9, and now Washington on another run, 7-0. Smith with a nice reverse on the dribble and picks up the foul, and Brandon Roy will return for Washington. Lorenzo Romar didn't rest him long. He's waiting at the scorer's table. Pruitt with the foul is first.
Illinois has been very physical with Brandon Roy. You can expect that to continue, and Joel Smith, the lefty athlete, put the ball on the floor nicely and drew that blocking foul on Sean Pruitt.
Smith, who played little against Air Force, has contributed 3 points off the bench, and that's 8 straight. As Jensen goes out and Brandon Roy returns for Washington. James, it won't be Augustino goes out, Smith is out, and Randall returns to the Illinois lineup.
That substitution made so that Randall can guard Brandon Roy. Randall, arguably the best defender in the Big Ten with his length and athleticism. And Bruce Weber wants him on Roy at every opportunity.
9 straight for Washington to open a 7-point advantage as we approach the midpoint of this first 20-minute period. The battle to go to Washington, D.C. in the final 16.
Full court pressure by Washington.
What a block. And control. Roy comes up with it. Hits to the other end. Appleby for three. Oh, my. What a run by the Huskies. They're really barking. 12 in a row.
And what a play by Brandon Roy. With the left-hand dribble and the hesitation move going right around the quicker and faster D. Brown, the Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year last year.
Appleby hitting a couple of trays to spark this incredible run by the Huskies. They don't do that to Illinois very often. 12 unanswered. Boy, look at the battle in the post between Augustine and Jones wins the battle.
And to give Bobby Jones a tremendous amount of credit. He started off the game guarding D. Brown. Now he is guarding James Augustine, and the block by Smith. And then the three off the great pass by Brandon Roy. Appleby has been setting his feet on that side of the floor, knocking down his second tray this first half.
There's a big whistle. Augustine picks up his second foul and stays in the game with 9:20 left in the half. Roy, what a pass to Jones, and the foul.
James Augustine picking up that second foul, being guarded by Jones, holding him off with that left arm, just pushing a little bit, and that is definitely an offensive foul. Jones so versatile and quick at 6'6" with his long arms, able to battle to get around in front, and just frustrating James Augustine.
Jones shoots two. The foul is on Pruitt, his second. Jones in his career at Washington, over 1,200 points, number 20 all-time in scoring, to complement his terrific play on the defensive end, averaging 10.5 this year.
Lorenzo Romar is his first recruit at Washington, and he has really developed his game. He's become a more competent shooter. He can put the ball on the floor, and just magnificent defensively. A great team player.
D. Brown with the ball, no points, no assists, no rebounds in the first 11 minutes of the game. McBride not there, and good minutes. Joel Smith is giving Lorenzo Romar off the bench. He had the rebound.
He's athletic and he's playing like an athlete. And right now, Washington is just quicker to the ball.
Brandon Roy with the dribble. Randall on him. There's Smith. And he's not close on that attempt. Brown, coast to coast. Won't go down, but it's saved by Augustine, and they crash into the Washington bench. Smith and Augustine both are okay.
Well, Dick, how about the speed of D. Brown going north-south? He may not be as quick east-west, but north-south, he is really quick.
And a push-off foul on Sean Pruitt to get position, and now Pruitt with 3, Augustine with 2. The big men starters for Illinois in foul trouble.
Augustine really going after that ball. You can see how important this is to both teams. And Sean Pruitt, that's a big personal foul to get his third, have to go out. That takes away a lot of bulk and defensive presence. But when you've got here's the screen. Nobody called out that screen for Illinois.
Washington enjoying an 11-point lead early on a 13-point run. And Roy fires a 3, and it doesn't count.
An illegal screen.
And that shows you the danger of Brandon Roy, as Lorenzo Romar has his team very much in the fight. John Brockman, the freshman, too much on the screen. But Roy, he can beat you inside and outside, averaging 20 on the season. Under 8 to go.
Look how far out Illinois is having to catch the ball to start their offense. Nice slip of the screen.
As Randall comes up short on the shot. And Williams hands it off to Denton.
I don't think Washington gets near enough credit for being as good defensively as they are.
Here's Roy splitting the defense and draws the foul. Brandon Roy's a senior from Seattle.
All he needs, Dick, is just a sliver of an opening, and he can exploit it. Just an extraordinary talent.
Let's check on action elsewhere. Let's go to New York. the big man. What was that? Wichita won. Wasn't on there? Wasn't on there. Why would that?
I don't know. That's Texas A&M.
So that's Texas A&M we're listening to?
No, that we're listening to Wichita, but Texas A&M was on. Doesn't matter to me.
Well, I'd like to hear the. Who did? What? No, if that's just in case they do. Oh my goodness. That's over. That's over then. And thank you, Greg. How about the Shockers? Are they appropriately nicknamed? They beat Seton Hall, the 10 seed, and now trying to take out number 2 Tennessee. And just to pat our guys in the back in New York, had a chance yesterday to see all 100 hours of NCAA action on CBS. And the fact they move games around and you never are left wanting for anything. What a terrific job to coordinate all of these games and give us the best of the March Madness and the road to the Final Four. Well done. Brandon Roy showing the fans down here in San Diego why he was voted the Pac-10 Player of the Year, and along with Adam Morrison, he is one of the 2 best players on the entire West Coast.
Morrison the better scorer, but Brandon Roy the more complete player. There's nothing he doesn't do on a basketball court.
14 straight points as Illinois has not scored in more than 5 minutes. I wonder if they've had a drought like this all year.
Well, they haven't had a clean look at the basket. Bobby Jones has done a great job on D. Brown. And John Brockman right now guarding James Augustine, and he's been physical with him.
Augustine weaving inside and draws the foul. So Augustine will go to the line after Brockman picks up his second foul.
Augustine with the quickness advantage, and Brockman just gave him that angle. He was on the high side and allowed that spin move. Once you let a man catch it, when he's that far off the block, you can really almost take a step back. You don't want to be too close to him or standing too straight up, and that's what happened to Brockman.
Back to Greg Gumbel in New York. Augustine gets only 1 out of 2, but at least stops the long run of scoring by Washington as Brandon Roy trips and loses the ball. D. Brown the other way. Brown is 0 for 5 shooting. Inside, and a foul is called. Good move by Marcus Arnold, the 6'8", 245-pound junior from Chicago.
Yeah, Dick, one problem that Illinois is having right now, D. Brown cannot see over the top of Bobby Jones. Jones at 6'6", with his length, is really giving Brown a lot of trouble.
Here in San Diego with 6.5 to go. The Huskies of Washington with an 11-point lead. Arnold has it rejected by Marcus Wood. Jamal Williams. They say he plays like 6'9", although only 6'6". Up high to fly swat that attempt.
Well, Bobby Jones was instrumental in getting this block because he came over from the weak side to stop that spin, and Williams was allowed to step in and block it. And right now, Washington is dominating this game with their defense, not their offense.
And the Illini use a timeout. And that gives us a chance to go right back to New York. Foul thing again for me, because Brockman, now we haven't mentioned he's got 3. Ooh, whoa. Ooh, baby. And back to the action here in San Diego. John Brockman committed his 3rd foul, so one of the big men for Lorenzo Romar on the bench. Jensen returns.
Illinois has had to start their offense much further out on the floor than they're used to.
D. Brown misses again. Out of bounds to Washington as Denton, little guy, getting the rebound, and for a moment Chester Frazier had it knocked away. And Brown has to be frustrated, so competitive, and he's the glue on the team. Wants desperately to help his team in the scoring column. He's 0 for 6 today, and he's 1 for 7 the last game. So that's 1 for 13 shooting in the tournament here.
He's been rushing things, but Bobby Jones has been magnificent.
And how about the setup, Brandon Roy? The Huskies of Washington, their biggest lead, 25-12. This defense has frustrated Illinois. Not many good open looks, and Brown has been ice cold here in San Diego.
The idea that Washington would be able to hold this Illinois offense to just 12 points in 15 minutes. Extraordinary defense by the Washington Huskies.
Good ball movement, and finally the open man, and another miss as Frazier can't hit. Brown, oh, what an effort, using the left hand and his speed to work the baseline. Finally, D. Brown in the scorebook. Let's go right back to Greg. Roy, unable to hit inside, was fouled, and I think they got D. Brown on that one.
How about the versatility of Brandon Roy? We've seen him run the team essentially as a point guard. We've seen him running off screens, facing up, knocking down jumpers, and now going into the post and getting fouled, drawing 3 defenders down on the low block.
D. Brown, his first foul. Actually, Brandon Roy's a native of San Diego. His father was in the Marines here when he was born. Didn't stay here long, as would be the case with most military men. So he said something about roots, feels comfortable playing here, and certainly looked at when he came up with 28 against Utah State on Thursday night. Illinois, 15 minutes, 5 field goals. Can you believe that? And a slip by Arnold, and that gives Williams a chance, and he's fouled. Frazier got him. Everything going Washington's way. The Washington Huskies leading by 13, and back to the free throw line as Jamal Williams toes the stripe, looking for his 6th point. And look at the run, 18-3, and for Illinois again, 15 minutes for this high-powered Illini team to score 5 field goals.
Well, this overplaying, ball-hawking Washington defense has been the cause, and on that last turnover, Marcus Arnold having to come out near midcourt to take an entry pass and just lost his footing, and Jamal Williams could take it the other way.
And again, another pass to New York. fans, and no one likes it when they see number 15, Washington, defending as he's long, he's quick, and tenacious, and there's a turnover. You got McBride outside, and well stated, Jay, you know, when you force that offense in a less comfortable position. Oh, the Shockers have done it. They're in the Sweet 16. That certainly isn't in many brackets.
Mark Turgeon, an outstanding basketball coach, and they have a lot of really good players. Sean O'Geary, Paul Miller, the best big man in the Missouri Valley Conference. That's a really solid basketball team.
Brandon Roy double teamed on the trap, and it works as Brian Randall ties him up, and the arrow points to Washington. 14-point lead for Lorenzo Romar's Huskies, and he wants a 30. And gets it with 4:04 remaining in this opening half. What a dream half for the Washington Huskies. CBS Sportsline keeps you close to the action, fans. All you do is get up-to-the-minute scores, and you get on-demand highlights on all these second-round games. CBSSportsline.com.
One of the points of emphasis for Illinois coming into this ball game was trying to limit the touches of Brandon Roy and to be physical with him. And they have done just that. Illinois' defense has not been bad, limiting this team to 28 points. And they have limited the open looks of Brandon Roy, making everything difficult for him. The problem for Illinois has been they've not been able to get any clean looks on their offensive end. And Mr. Versatile, Brandon Roy, the best player in the Pac-10, and I think one of the top 5 players in America. He scores, he rebounds, he defends, he passes, he handles the ball. He has got the complete package.
Lorenzo Romar telling us he's far and ahead, taking charges, and he really is the package. Well, since the game was tied at 11, Washington has outscored Illinois 19-3. Illinois shooting only 19%, and the Huskies have the ball here as we tick it down to the 4-minute mark of this opening half. Roy from way downtown had to shoot, and a foul called on Williams over the back, his first. Again, the foul situation is part of the story early. John Brockman has 3 for Washington, but Sean Pruitt with 3 for Illinois, and Augustine and Randall are playing with 2. 3:55 left in the half, and we have a timeout. On the road to the Final Four. This is the Washington, D.C. Regional. The Washington Huskies of the Pac-10 and the Big Ten. Illinois fighting Illini. And there's not been a lot of offensive game for Illinois, and that's been the shocker here in San Diego as Washington has jumped out to a sizable lead and a 19-3 run. Dick Enberg with Jay Billis. Glad you're with us. A couple of big games, this one, and then UCLA and Alabama later.
Well, we have 2 great games, and Washington has really seized control of this game, not with their offense, and they're a powerful offensive team, but with their defense. They've been outstanding, pushing Illinois further out on the floor, taking the Illini out of transition. You have to give a lot of credit to Bobby Jones, the outstanding senior defender. Bobby Jones has been taking deep round and really doing a great job of putting pressure on the ball.
The winner of this game moves on to the nation's capital to play either Connecticut or Kentucky. That game, of course, tomorrow.
This Washington team, very versatile. They've got a young man coming off the bench named Jamal Williams. He is a transfer from the University of New Mexico, got off to a fast start, made his presence known defensively, blocking a big shot, scoring inside off of Brandon Roy's penetration. Then after a slip by Marcus Arnold, starting that offense so far out, taking the ball to the rack and getting fouled.
The lowest total in the first half this year for Illinois, 19 they scored against Iowa back in January. They have only 14 with 3:55 left in this half. Never a good statistic. That'll get a coach yelling at halftime when the turnovers outweigh the field goals.
But I'm not sure with all the quality teams that Illinois has played this year that they have played a team that has pressured the ball and gotten out in passing lanes as effectively as Washington has in this game. Washington is not a big team, but they are an athletic team, and they are a ball-hawking defensive team right now. I'm not sure how many people across America know how good Washington has been defensively over the last month and a half.
Washington late coming back on the court after that timeout, and Illinois trying to stop this 19-3 run. D. Brown, part of the problem. Here's their leader, Star. Was 1 for 13 in the 2 games until he made a drive along the baseline to score 2 of those 3 points in this period of domination by Washington.
Well, look at the size difference between he and Jones. He cannot see over Bobby Jones.
He got the ball to his favorite target, Augustine. It's good, and a foul.
Well, those two are so good working together. After James Augustine sets a screen, he might be the best in the country at looking for his offense. One of the best ways that any player can get open is by setting a screen, because the defense starts worrying about the guy coming off the screen. They forget about the screener. In fact, when Bob Knight coached the 1984 Olympic team and had Michael Jordan on that team, he would tell Jordan, you want to get open, you set a screen, and forced him to set a screen before he could get a shot. That's how important screening is to getting open.
Augustine completes the 3-point play. He has 6. Appleby to Jensen. Inside to Williams. Backdoor to Roy. Brandon Roy, the star of this Washington team, now with 9 to lead all scorers.
Boy, to have a postman that can deliver that pass and then a player catching it that can finish with that left hand. What a great play.
Huskies have played impeccably this first 20 minutes. Brown with a drive, and a blocking foul is called. His mom, ever present, D. Brown's mom, Kathy Brown, blocker.
D. Brown putting the ball on the floor and stopping short of getting all the way to the rim so he can loft that ball up, and Brandon Roy just a little bit late in getting there. He set his feet just after D. Brown had left the ground, so he didn't establish initial guarding position and got the block.
It shows you the toughness of Roy that we've been talking about, willing to take those hits. So a couple of 3-point plays by the senior stars of Illinois. Augustine and Brown. Will it awaken this Illini attack? They cut the lead down to 10. Roy can't get inside. And a hold away from the ball.
Let's go back to possession and take a look at what great players do. Here's Brandon Roy. Watch him when the ball goes inside. He's going to read his man. When the ball goes inside, his man on top of him. So he just makes a back cut, has a wide open lane to the basket, and able to take it around to the other end of the rim with his left hand so as not to get that shot blocked. That's just great basketball by truly a great player. And you know, when I say player, Dick, a lot of guys look at themselves as being a shooter or a passer or a point guard. They look at themselves by position. Brandon Roy looks at himself as a player, and he just steps out there and makes plays on both ends of the floor.
He hits both free throws. The foul was on Ryan Randall, and that's 3 on him. So, along with being down on the scoreboard, Bruce Weber has got some concerns. Pruitt and Randall, 2 starters on the front line, saddled with 3 fouls in this first half, and Augustine has 2.
Randall the most significant of those 2 because he's the only guy that has a shot of guarding Brandon Roy and having great success.
Augustine using his speed at 6'10" to fly inside, score, and is fouled. Appleby's second.
Augustine putting that ball on the floor. He's got such great mobility. And at 6'10", he is an extraordinary athlete. He was a baseball pitcher. He was a quarterback on his high school football team. And he is one heck of a college basketball player.
First in Illinois history to score 1,000 and rebound 1,000. A couple of 3-point plays by Augustine, another by D. Brown, bringing life to this Illinois attack. And another foul on the drive before the shot.
Justin Detman, the freshman from Carbondale, Illinois, committed to Illinois State out of high school before going to prep school for a year. You know he's fired up to be playing against his hometown team.
Why, all the way to the Great Northwest in Seattle, and says my mom told me to follow my heart, and my heart took me to Lorenzo Romar. That's great credit to the coach there on the Washington sidelines.
He did say that there's been one big adjustment in going to Washington. He says it rains at every angle.
You got to know your winds. He says you don't know which way to point your umbrella. Well, 2 missed free throws by Dentman, however. There's Carter.
What a play by Brandon.
Another foul. And they're going to call it on Roy for a block.
Boy, he was there.
That's the second foul on him, and suddenly the whistles are becoming a major part of this game. As you see, Illinois cutting into what was once a huge lead by Washington, down to 9. Neither team shooting particularly well.
The free throw line has been a major difference in this ball game for Washington. They are getting the ball into the paint and forcing Illinois into foul situations. Brandon Roy going to have to be careful this last 151 of not picking up another foul, and if that's not a charge, there's no such thing. He was there.
Carter at the line. This is the second, but there's Arnold to follow, and now final minutes of this half. Illinois makes a charge, and it's a 6-point game.
The senior Mike Jensen fell asleep in that low slot.
And another whistle. Well, Illinois making their run now. It's been 4 3-point plays, whether it's been from outside or 2 + 1. That foul on Rich McBride is first. A reminder coming up, singular at the half. Greg Clark set. Take a live look at the other action going on in the tournament, plus all the latest tournament news. Singular Naismith update as well, all coming up on singular at the half. And Brandon Roy misses. That's 3 straight free throws. Unsuccessful for Washington. Jensen out, Smith back in for Washington.
Roy just needs to stay on that line. He backed up as soon as he let that go. He needs to let his momentum carry him more toward the basket. Much better shot there.
12 points for Roy to lead all scorers. 7-point game. 1.5 minutes to go.
2-3 zone right now for Washington. When D. Brown was bringing the ball up the floor, he had to think, now at least I've got a fair fight, being guarded by Justin Detman, a smaller player. Bobby Jones has been all over him all game long.
Inside it goes, and Augustine lays it over the rim. He has 11.
Just a unique ability to find openings, especially after setting a screen. Good shot by Justin Detman. Under pressure.
Augustine rebounds, an 8-1 run for the Illini. It's really been incredible. Each team has had 2 significant runs in this opening half. Augustine, 10-1 run. Washington started 6 in a row. Illinois made the next 9. Then Washington had a run of 19-3, and now it's Illinois 10-1.
And a smart play by Illinois going for that quick strike, because they're going to get a 2-for-1 to end this half.
Roy, acrobatic, can't make it. Jones follows. 35-30, 16 seconds to go. Shot clock off. Boy, this last 5 minutes has been frenetic.
Gotta get a shot up quickly.
2-1, D. Brown, good for 3. That is the perfect exclamation point on a great first half of basketball in San Diego. Washington had led 28-14. The half ends with a 2-point. First half, Brandon Roy led the Huskies with 12. James Augustine with 13. 35-33. We're on the banks of the Blue Pacific in San Diego. Second half coming up.
From
Northern Illini. A 2-point game. We'll return to San Diego after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the Men's NCAA Basketball Championship on CBS. 25th Road to the Final Four. Well, Uncle Toivo, he just gets out there and won't quit. A 2-point game is ready for the second half. And I don't remember a game quite like this one. It was like, I guess that's appropriate, the waves, because we had high waves one side and then they came totally undulating the other.
You know, Washington dominated the first 15 minutes of the ball game with its defense, and then Illinois dominated the last 5 minutes of the first half, led by James Augustine. I thought his energy really was a big difference for Illinois down the stretch in the first half, diving for loose balls, the fake handoff, the great read of the defense, taking it and finishing it, and you can see his energy after screening Brandon Roy, looking for his offense right away. 13 points in that first half to go along with 4 rebounds for James Augustine.
That helped the Illini on that 19-7 charge to close out the half and pull within 2. Field goal percentages up a bit. Washington's been around 40, and Illinois, starting so slowly, made their last 7 shots of the half after starting 5 for 26. Here we are, 20 minutes away from a winner that will advance to the Final 16 in Washington, D.C. Will it be the Huskies of the Pac-10 or the Illini from Champaign of the Big Ten?
We know that Washington is going to try to put the ball into the hands of Pac-10 Player of the Year Brandon Roy. Brian Randall, who has been guarding him for a good part of this game.
But he has 3 fouls.
That's the issue. He has got 3 fouls. That is one thing that Bruce Weber said yesterday that the Illini could not afford. That was to get its best perimeter defender, Brian Randall, in foul trouble. He is in that foul trouble now.
Right away they go to Augustine, and he delivers a banker that ties it at 35.
A much more focused beginning to the second half for Illinois, spreading the floor and going right into Augustine, who was magnificent at the end of the first half.
Jones, Denton, Jensen, Roy, and Brockman for Washington. Augustine, Brown, McBride, Pruitt, and Randall for Illinois. Same teams that started. Jones a good fake. Detman for 3. And that'll be on Jensen. And fouls could be an important part of this drama in the second half, because Brockman has 3 for Washington and 3 of the bigs for Illinois. Randall has 3, Pruitt 3, and Augustine 2.
Well, in order to protect Brian Randall for the first part of the second half, Bruce Weber's taken him off of Brandon Roy. What a great steal by Jensen.
Takes it away from Augustine, who gets back down court in good position and forces the turnover. Now there is a big man that can really run, and the hustle after being stripped of the ball and then forces the turnover.
Well, he beat Jensen down the floor. Jensen dribbling, not quite as able to run. I'll tell you what, that's when a big guy has got to just pick the ball up and get it to a guard, because when you don't have that angle, you're just forcing it.
So we start anew at 35 early in the second half.
A good closeout by Bobby Jones.
Illinois' biggest lead, 3 points in the first half, 14 for Washington. Pruitt gives Illinois another chance. Illini fans across the way, they don't sit down. Kicked out by Brockman and controlled by Jones. Boy, we're going to have to institute the 3 knockdown rule here. A lot of bodies on the floor today. Detman flies in. Augustine clears. Here comes Brown. The lob. Randall. Oh, my.
And credit James Augustine with the terrific outlet pass to D. Brown to start that break. And Brian Randall, an extraordinary athlete in transition.
Illinois had not led since 9-6 and 11-9 early in the game.
This ball barely hit the floor. The quick outlet, 2 dribbles, that ball is up. And Brian Randall, what an extraordinary athlete he is. Brian Randall reminds me a great deal of Grant Hill.
Oh, that's a high compliment. Brandon Roy able to hit the free throw, fouled by Rich McBride. McBride second. And Illinois closing the first half 19-7. First 2 buckets of the second half. That 23-7 run for them. And Roy hits the 2 tosses for a 37 tie.
Bobby Jones at the end of this game is going to feel like he's run a marathon having to chase D. Brown all over the court.
Augustine free again underneath. And he leads all scorers with 17.
Illinois is doing a great job of putting the ball on one side of the floor and then reversing it and letting Augustine use his speed and quickness against the Washington big guys.
Tied up, and the ball goes to Washington.
Watch him peel right around this pick by Pruitt, pick off Jensen, and the help a little bit late getting there. When they move the ball from side to side, that is where Illinois is having some success. If they try to keep it on the same side and attack off one pass, they are not having success offensively.
Rich McBride hawking Brandon Roy. Brockman throws it away. D. Brown, and he's held by Bobby Jones. Jones trying to stop the easy basket, has his first foul.
Well, Washington right now back on its heels in transition. Illinois really pushing the tempo, and they're doing it off their defense. John Brockman, the freshman, McDonald's All-American last year, trying to be a playmaker underneath. That's why he turned it over.
From Snohomish, Washington, where he averaged over 30 points a game. All alone in the corner is Randall, the lefty. Can't hit. Roy taking charge on the rebound. You better pick him up. He had eyes on going all the way. Jones misses. So Washington starts cold from the floor in the second half, as did Illinois to open the first half. D. Brown.
Too quick. Both Washington and Illinois in those last 2 possessions threw it up too quickly.
But that's Washington style. They like to push it. Denton unable to hit. He's up there trying to see who is that with the ball up there. Augustine. McBride. A tray. And Illinois has its biggest lead of the game.
Oh, what a resilient basketball team.
This veteran team with Brown and Augustine leading the way all the way to the finals last year, and Roy short, unable to get his own rebound. Brown, McBride, another 3.
Washington needs a timeout. Their transition defense has been awful.
And Lorenzo Romar says, come over here to me. Let's slow this thing down. Another run continuing from their play at the end of the first half as the Illini jump out in front by 8 with Rich McBride back-to-back downtown. Cox Arena, 12,000 here on the campus of San Diego State. Here's a look at our tournament summary. Wichita State, indeed, the Shockers, as they make the Sweet 16. Another win today, and they move to the Sweet 16, first time since '81. Alabama's Crimson Tide make their appearance. They're going to be spectators for a while, and will be number 2 seed UCLA in our second game. Some of you will see Indiana and Gonzaga. 2 great games out in the West to conclude this Saturday action. Excuse me, Jay. Since Washington led 28-14 in the first half, it's been Illinois 31-9 outscoring the Huskies. Washington needs a hoop. A lot of turnovers. Brockman gets it back, and he traveled. So 4.5 minutes into this second half, Illinois opens an 8-point advantage. And our Southwest Airlines sideline report as we look at the Illinois sideline and mindful of the loss of a giant yesterday. Roamed the sidelines in Chicago, DePaul University. Ray Meyer, that's how I remember him, that gap in his tooth and the big smile, a beautiful man. Ray Meyer, and working with Al McGuire, the stories he told about the confrontations between Marquette and DePaul in the old, less sophisticated days. He said when the walls were so thin, you could hear each other's halftime screaming. I'd wait for Ray to stop yelling, and then I'd yell at my kids, and then we'd go out and play the second half.
Cast a long shadow in this game. Coach George Mikan played at Notre Dame.
How about Augustine? Has he taken over this game? 19 for him.
Washington is having a hard time adjusting to the athleticism of James Augustine. Bruce Weber has moved him all over the floor. He is screening and then getting his offense off of screens.
They double team Roy, has to give it up to Bobby Jones. Jones, hard drive, and the basket with a foul. Much needed three-point opportunity for Washington.
Bobby Jones trying to be a little bit more aggressive because Brandon Roy has been getting double teamed. They've tried to get the ball out of his hands, and Augustine on the other end screening and then looking for his offense off the lob. He is a terrific reader of the defense.
Brian Randall leaves. James Augustine leading all scorers with 19 points, but Brian Randall for Illinois has left the game with his fourth personal foul, and Bobby Jones converts it. Three-point play. Illinois' lead cut to 7 as the Illini dominating the late minutes of the first half and then opening the second half on another 10-2 run.
Bobby Jones, the great defender that has been guarding D. Brown much of this game, now on Augustine trying to shut him down. Shows how versatile Jones is.
This freshman Smith in the corner can't get off his patented three. McBride rattles out, and a foul underneath. On Illinois, it's going to go against Marcus Arnold. Blocking too feverishly to get position, his first.
One heavyweight fight after another in this Washington, D.C. region.
Oh, that Connecticut-Kentucky game will be a good one tomorrow on CBS, and the winners to meet in Washington, D.C. next week in the Sweet 16. Jones finds an open alley. Can't hit the reverse. Arnold with a rebound.
Well, Jones needed to go straight up on the right side of the basket. Didn't need to go around to the other side.
D. Brown thought about the long three. Here's the freshman Smith. Red hot on Thursday night, and the follow to Arnold. Marcus Arnold has his fourth point.
Well, the ball movement for Illinois in the second half has been terrific. D. Brown passed up an open shot to get Jamar Smith in the corner a better shot.
The pass by Roy, but Williams can't hit. Here comes D. Brown one-on-one. Here's number 2 Smith, and Brown will get the basket. Have the Illini ever turned up the juices in their offense? They were down 28-14 in the first half, in the middle of the first half. There was a point where they had more turnovers than points. That was late in the first half. Williams can't connect. Will it be a shooting foul?
Illinois got its offense going with its defense, limiting to Washington to one shot and then getting out in transition and trying to get some easy opportunities before the Washington defense could get set.
Non-shooting foul. Jay Billis, Marcus Arnold his second. Roy takes it inside and triples it home.
Got to find more opportunities for Brandon Roy. He has been much too quiet the last 6 or 7 minutes of the first half and into this second half.
Roy with 16 points now. He had 28 on Thursday night. Smith picks it inside. He makes his living beyond the arc, but has his first points on a drive inside.
They're just way too easy. The shooter Smith, an outstanding perimeter shooter, getting all the way to the rim without anybody jumping in front.
McBride, and a hand check by McBride on Brandon Roy, his third foul.
You can see the drive by Smith, putting the ball on the floor with his left hand. Bobby Jones lost vision altogether. Was looking right at his man, James Augustine. Nobody comes over from the weak side, nobody in position.
5 team fouls on Illinois, 2 Washington.
That's a foul there on Augustine.
They don't call it.
They should have.
Augustine playing with 2 fouls. Changes by both teams. McBride comes out and freshman Chester Frazier replaces him. Jensen is back for Washington along with Dentman.
Roy being guarded by the freshman Chester Frazier. He needs to take advantage of Frazier in the post.
He's got 4 inches on him and 3 years of experience. Another foul on Illinois as we remind you that Tuesday on The Amazing Race, you'll get a chance to go behind the wheel with the teams as they speed around a world famous test track. Tuesday, CBS, America's #1 network. Foul was on Jamar Smith, his first. And that was a deflection by Smith to create the turnover. Take the 3, took it inside, couldn't find a free path, and finally a turnover against Illinois. Timeout, 11:36 left in this second half. The Illini enjoy an 11-point lead. How hot Illinois has been from the floor, 60% in the second half, but they made their last 7 to end the first half. They're shooting 73%. After falling behind by 14.
A lot of it having to do with the great play of James Augustine. First play of the second half, they go to him inside. Off the slip, they get him a layup. And then the pass in transition to the left-hander who finishes it off the glass. Augustine, 19 points in the ballgame, 7 of 9 from the field. He has run the floor, he has defended, he's rebounded, and he has really been the catalyst of this comeback by Illinois.
Playing at the rim, and for Illinois as a team, 16 of their last 22. And even Brandon Roy unable to hit the usual sure shot inside. 11 minutes plus remaining in this second half. Illinois taking charge by 11, and here's number 11, D. Brown. Handing off to Augustine, little weave outside.
There goes off that screen again into the low post. You've got to negotiate a lot of screens when you play against Illinois.
Using clock down to 5. Brown inside at the buzzer. And another chance as Arnold got the rebound. 3 for Smith. He's not been able to hit after just burning the nets the other night.
Now what a play by Brandon Roy.
Got the ball away from 2 Illini defenders while he's on his back to save the possession. He is fouled before the shot.
Illinois has got to stop fouling. A rare miss by Jamar Smith when he's that open, but Roy able to wrestle the ball away from him and still get it to a teammate, so he didn't have to call a timeout or get tied up.
Not foul shooting, but in the bonus now, that's the 7th team foul, and McBride has his 4th foul.
That is too early to put a good team into the bonus, and now that is going to make Washington even more aggressive off the dribble to try to put Illinois into situations where they either have to foul or give up.
Team foul 7-2. Roy, a good free throw shooter, unable to hit the second. It's a 10-point game. As we near the midpoint of this first 20-minute period, Bruce Weber wanted a foul. Roy at the other end. He loves to get in here and use a spin move. Tied up and travel. He thought he was fouled.
Chester Frazier did a nice job of being there on help side to really bother Brandon Roy when he went off that left-handed dribble to try to spin back. Bruce Weber's gotten some nice contributions off of his bench. It might not show it much in points, but Marcus Arnold has come in and done a nice job. Chester Frazier, Jamar Smith, he's getting quality minutes out of his bench.
Losing Darren Williams and Luther Head off that team that went all the way to the Final Four a year ago, and Bruce Weber has filled those spots, patched it up well, hasn't he? Dentman gets his hand on the ball, and then the foul will be on Dentman. Wow. Frazier actually stopped the play by falling on Dentman, and it's the Husky player that gets the foul.
Terrific hands by Justin Dentman, and I don't know about that one. That looks like incidental contact to me, because Washington was about to take that the other way.
9:43 left. D. Brown. Oh, almost went off the high bounce. And the foul will be on Pruitt, and that's 4 on him.
Boy, the fouls are really mounting up. This is becoming a major issue for Illinois. Not just for individuals, but now every common foul. Washington is walking to the free throw line. And those are easy opportunities that this Illinois team is giving up.
McBride, Randall, and Pruitt, 3 big men on the front wall for Bruce Weber, all playing with 4. Not Pruitt now, he's out, and Carter in.
Boy, now it's Augustine Brown and a daycare center.
And unable to take advantage. Dentman, who missed 2 his last time at the line, misses the front end of a 1-and-1. He's an 83% free throw shooter, best on the team. Smith. Rebound. Williams gets it on the fly to Dentman. Bobby Jones wide open. He misses. Williams puts it back.
Williams could have gotten a foul call on D. Brown. Brown was holding on to his arm before he got that rebound.
Washington fans like this little run by the Huskies. They're back within 8. Less than 9 to go. Frazier, the heir apparent to D. Brown's spot on the point, charging his way through and throws it away. And Smith, the freshman, trying to stop Roy. No basket. A foul on Smith, his second. Say fans, you can win an NCAA related prize every 35 seconds at mycokerewards.com/NCAA. 9th team foul, so after this point it'll be double bonus for the Huskies.
And only 3 team fouls for Washington right now.
Here at Cox Arena on the campus of San Diego State. The second round action between the Big Ten Illini and the Pac-10 Huskies of Washington. Washington owned most of the first half until a late rally by Illinois pulled them within 2 at the intermission, and then Illinois kept right on going, built up a double-digit lead. Brandon Roy hits 2 free throws, the star player for Washington, and that sends Washington within 6 with 8:35 left. This is the Washington, D.C. bracket. I'm sure watching with interest back on the East Coast, Connecticut and Kentucky and Philadelphia. The winner of that game will beat the winner of this one. Sweet 16 at stake. Warren Carter able to walk in for an easy layup. He has 3 points.
Doing a nice job slipping that screen. These big guys for Illinois. Augustine Carter doing a terrific job of looking for offense after they set a screen. Washington going to look to drive the ball at every opportunity because they are drawing fouls like crazy on Illinois.
Illinois has their big men in trouble with 4 fouls, and Warren Carter's in there playing more because of that. Has his first.
Warren Carter going over to set a ball screen. He saw that the defense fell asleep, so he cut immediately to the basket. That's called slipping a screen.
Double bonus in effect now from now on for Washington, and the Huskies have committed only 3 fouls. Dentman, who is an excellent 83% shooter, but 0 for 3 prior to that one.
Well, the foul trouble on Illinois is going to make Washington even more aggressive, putting the ball on the floor and attacking.
Dentman now with 6 points. He had missed 3 in a row after making his first 2, so he's 4 for 7 in the game from the line. McBride, Randall, and Pruitt for Illinois, all with 4 fouls.
Washington going now with the 2-3 zone. They really have to watch out for Jamar Smith, the best perimeter shooter on the floor.
Illinois with a three-guard offense now. Frazier, Brown, and Smith, the freshmen. Two freshmen, Frazier and Smith, down to 5 and 4. Smith with a drive, has to shoot it, and shot violation. Roy, a little out of control, throws it away. That's uncharacteristic of him. And then Brown having trouble with the dribble, but reclaims. Fans want a foul on Washington.
A great job by Bobby Jones to move his feet at his size. The ability to stay in front of the quick D. Brown.
6-point game. Sweet 16 at stake. Less than 7 to play.
This 2-3 zone causing Illinois to stand a little bit, not getting as good a movement as they did earlier.
D. Brown way downtown, hits the 3. 13 for the senior star of the Illini. As Bruce Weber says, D. Brown's like a rock star, not just in Champaign, but the state of Illinois. They do love him. Mike Jensen, will he get a 3? Yes! The senior from Kent, Washington, has 6 points.
Illinois needs to get this ball in.
Augustine helping out.
Washington going back now, Dick, to man out of the zone.
Carter and Augustine are 2 big men on the floor for Illinois. And the 3 guards, 2 of them freshmen. Frazier from Baltimore with the ball. Runs the show. Shot clock at 9. D. Brown after the 3. Oh, no goaltending. Who got that block? Roy?
Looked like it was Jamal Williams to me.
Roy trying to get inside. Denman, Jensen for 3. In and out. That was halfway down the hole. And a foul on Washington. And the Illini fans with Little Bronx cheer across the way as Washington picks up its 4th team foul. 58-52 Illinois. 5 minutes and change remaining. Illinois strapped with foul problems, leading by 6. This basketball feast continues. You don't have room for dessert? Come on. We've got Alabama, UCLA, Indiana, and Gonzaga yet to go.
Just a great day of college basketball. And a great game we're seeing here in San Diego between 2 really versatile and athletic basketball teams.
Brandon Roy with 19 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, and that last block. Randall returns for Illinois. He's one of those playing with 4 fouls. This is Brian Randall. Freshman Smith throws it away. It's a big possession for Washington as we touch on the 5-minute mark. Williams, and he traveled. And he had an opening.
Well, Washington wants to try to attack off the dribble because of the disparity in fouls, but you're better off catching and facing up before you put the ball on the floor. You can't just catch and dribble.
Marcus Arnold, a junior from Chicago, seeing extended time because of the foul difficulties. He's in the game. D. Brown around Jones. Can't connect, and Brandon Roy sweeps the glass.
Not the shot for D. Brown. He forced it.
Jensen almost traveled. Detman. Great pass to Jamal Williams. A 4-point game. Williams now with 9. Smith. Good pass to Randall. Roy set up to try to pick up the charge, and Smith eluded it in a beautiful flip pass for the basket. Detman hits, and he's fouled. Oh, my. How did that one go in? Totally knocked off balance as he delivered the shot by Jamar Smith.
First the drive by Jamar Smith out of Peoria, then the answer from Carbondale, Illinois.
Middle State to Southern Illinois. Now Denton, the freshman, looking for the three-point play in his 10th of the game to climb within 2. Washington ran out to a 28-14 lead. But the Illini having difficulty making any field goals, and then Illinois couldn't miss for about a 15-minute period late in the first half and to start this second. And they jumped out to an 11-point lead, 53-42, but that has been whittled away, and we're down to 2 in San Diego.
CBS Sports and Coca-Cola show how fans started up.
We're all part of Orange Crush.
The premier student section in the country. UNC, here we come.
12 hours in the van.
Even though we're only 5, we're going to be like we're 5,000. I don't expect a voice when I get done with that game.
Woohoo! We are in a rematch of that championship game last year. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else.
We are Orange Crush, and we love college basketball. Start it up!
4 minutes, 12 seconds remain here at Cox Arena in San Diego. Leona Romar, Lorenzo's wife, deep in thoughts and ready to fire. Or Bruce Weber's wife, Megan. Oh, it's not easy being on the support of men who coach this game.
I think it's harder for them than it is for the coaches.
Connecticut, Kentucky, they play tomorrow. The winners advance to Washington, D.C. against the winner of this game. Sweet 16 at stake. 10-team fouls. Illinois, double bonus. Is really a bonus for this Washington team, and they've committed only 4 fouls. Washington on a 16-7 run to get back within 2.
But because of the foul situation, Washington can afford to be aggressive defensively without fear of fouling.
McBride back in the game. He has 4 fouls. Augustine inside to Arnold, and Roy over the back with a foul, his 3rd. Augustine with 19, Brown with 13 to lead Illinois. It's Roy 19, Denton 10 for Washington. Dick Enberg, Jay Billis in San Diego.
Significant foul difficulty for Illinois. McBride, Randall, and Pruitt with 4 apiece. That has led to a significant foul shot disparity. Washington 21 of 29 from the free throw line. Illinois has only taken 9 free throws in this ball game, hitting 7 of them.
Timeouts, Washington with 2, Illinois with 3, but the big line is that 10 fouls, actually more than that against Illinois, giving Washington the double bonus so early. Good inbounds play, but he hit the underside of the basket, and here comes Washington with a chance to tie or take the lead with a 3.
Well designed by Illinois coming out of the timeout.
Brandon Roy, double team, weaves his way in for the tying basket. It's at 60 with 3:25 to go.
Just slithers his way to the basket, and the use of the left hand, how beautiful.
And a travel is called on the roll of the ball. Rich McBride.
Brandon Roy able to use his right hand to just get through. Boy, an amazing move.
He uses his left hand incredibly well, his offhand. Well, here we are, 3:25, tied at 60. Back with our game reset. Arrow points to Illinois. That could be critical. 3:16 to go. But another call against the Illini on the travel against Rich McBride. Gives Washington the ball. 3:16.
You have to be very precise in this ball game. Rich McBride looked like a simple pivot, but it's going the other way.
Denton, Jones, Jensen, Roy, and Williams for Washington. Brown, McBride, Augustine, Arnold. Randall for Illinois. Randall's on Roy. Roy with a bank shot, can't hit. Good defense that time. And here in San Diego with 2:55 remaining, Washington has rallied from 11 down here in the second half, aided by many trips to the free throw line to tie Illinois at 60. Brandon Roy, the All-American Husky, leading the way, all scores with 21. And another Illinois foul. This one called against Marcus Arnold, his third. Jamal Williams gives Washington the lead. Washington was up 35-33 at halftime. Once 14-point lead for the Huskies. And then Illinois made 7 straight to end the first half and kept right on going, built up a 53-42 lead. But Washington rallying and now reclaims the lead at 61-60. 61-60 it'll be as Williams gets 1 out of 2. A 12-2 run for the Huskies. Washington in the double bonus, and they have been for several minutes. Illinois with 3 men with 4 fouls. Augustine not one of those. McBride is as he takes the shot from 10, and Illinois back in front by 1. Rich McBride with 13.
A move that earlier in the season Rich McBride would not have made, known as a catch-and-shoot player, really putting the ball on the floor. And Washington continuing to attack off the dribble and put Illinois in a position to foul. You can see McBride, the left-handed dribble, the short pull-up, a lost art in college basketball, but an art that he is improving in game by game.
You saw the quick move by Justin Detman, the freshman guard for Washington, diving inside and drew the foul from James Augustine. Augustine's third.
Washington has been living at this free throw line all game long, but especially in the second half.
That's the 9th attempt by Detman. He's made 6 of them. Huskies are 11 for 14 this half. Illinois has not shot a free throw this half. Wasted opportunities, though, at the line for Washington. The game remains tied with 2:14 to go. Connecticut and Kentucky will meet tomorrow. The winner of that game to meet the winner of this in Washington, D.C. Here in San Diego, down to the 2-minute mark. Washington and Illinois tied at 62. The Washington, D.C. bracket. Washington owned most of the first half. Illinois rallied, pulled within 2 at halftime. Illinois jumped out to an 11-point lead here in the second half as Brandon Roy, the star for the Washington Huskies, he now has 4 fouls. It's been Illinois that has been woefully hit with the fouls in this game, and it's been in the double bonus has the Huskies because of the foul trouble of Bruce Weber's team for much of the second half. That's only the 6th team foul whistled against the Huskies, but a big one since Brandon Roy now plays with 4.
Bobby Jones has been all over D. Brown defensively, an outstanding defender with great size and length. He has really bothered Brown all game long.
Roy on McBride, since McBride, although he did drive the last possession, is less likely to take him down the lane, and Bruce Weber wants a timeout. Oh, down to the precious seconds, 1:22 remaining. Washington and Illinois at 62. Welcome back to Cox Arena in San Diego. The Sweet 16 spot at stake. Illinois all the way to the finals against North Carolina a year ago. Trying to repeat an appearance in the second week, and they do it. It'll be laboring under foul difficulties. McBride, Randall, and Pruitt, 3 big men with 4 for Illinois. The biggest man for Washington, Brandon Roy, has 4.
Have to play defense intelligently and don't put yourself in a position to foul. But right now, Illinois, after the timeout, will have out of bounds on the side with 9 seconds left on the shot clock.
Should Washington prevail in this game, it will be at the free throw line. They're 11 for 15 in the second half. Illinois has not shot a free throw. And in the game, Washington with 23 makes from the line, only 7 for the Illini.
That's the ball screen by Augustine. Augustine.
Down to 4. Long shot by the freshman Smith. Does not hit. He could not be stopped in the win Thursday night. Smith has not hit a 3 today. Detman against Smith. Freshman against freshman. Detman takes it down the lane and misses. Gets it back. And he's fouled with 58.6 seconds showing.
What a great offensive rebound by Bobby Jones, the glue guy for this Washington team. The crossover, getting past Smith, and the double clutch, but Jones right there, almost too many shot blockers going after the initial shot. That opened things up for Jones for the offensive board.
Foul on Augustine. He joins company. He has 4. That's the 4th Illini player with 4. Jones gives Washington the 1-point lead.
Well, they may have to repaint that foul line because Washington has worn it out.
64-62, the Huskies of the Pac-10. Fans now rising as one here at Cox Arena. Jensen on Augustine. Brown has the taller Bobby Jones on him. Smith with Roy. Look at that, Jones defend. Finally extricating his Brown. Augustine with 8. Smith with 6. Underneath, throws it away. Bobby Jones, 23 seconds.
Need to foul.
And it'll be Randall, and that'll be his 5th foul. He had no other way to go. Had to stop the action, stop the clock. 20.7. Brian Randall, the first Illini to foul out.
What an extraordinary defensive effort on that last possession by Washington. Not only Bobby Jones, but Brandon Roy getting great pressure on that shot by Jamar Smith. Look at that. The pass and then the steal by Williams, but the pressure on the shot by Brandon Roy made that steal possible.
Bruce Weber can use some time here while making his selection of a replacement. It'll be Warren Carter, and he's yelling for his players to come over in the huddle. Wants to talk it over with 20.7. In essence, a free 30-second timeout for him. Randall leaving with 8 points. And it's not his offense, but his defense that is so treasured by Weber. And when you have those fouls, he was not on the court as many minutes as Weber would have liked, as he was assigned to Brandon Roy. There's your bracket. Washington, D.C. Are they ever going to get a good Sweet 16 matchup no matter who wins those 2 games? Denton. He's 7 for 11 from the line. This freshman from Carbondale, Illinois, of all things. A young kid from Illinois that migrated to Seattle, Washington to play for the Huskies and Lorenzo Romar. This would make it a 2-possession game.
Still plenty of time for Illinois to come down, get a good shot, and either try to get a steal or foul.
And a whistle. Be a foul against Washington. Bobby Jones. And that is the 7th team foul. So finally, Illinois goes to the line with only 15 seconds left.
Not a smart foul by Washington. You stop the clock, you allow Illinois to score with no time going off the clock, and you also allow the Illini to set up their press.
Here's D. Brown fighting to stay in action in his senior year. Is this his last game? He and James Augustine, who have won 114 games. Mom Kathy there rooting for son D, who makes the first free throw, and then a timeout called by Washington. Daniel D. Brown will be back at the line when we return. 3-point game. Back with our Chevrolet Scholarship Program Players of the Game. You could retire the award if you're Brandon Roy. Who else? You could pick him before the game. What a player. And James Augustine with 19 to lead Illinois. D. Brown has 14, looking for 15. And Illinois is within 2.
You can't freeze that kid. He's already got ice water in his veins.
And Jones had trouble inbounding the ball, so he calls time. 15.5 seconds to decide who goes to Washington, D.C. Significant timeout by Washington to avoid the 5-second penalty. They used their last timeout. Illinois has one. Double bonus for Washington. 1-1 for Illinois.
That makes this a spot throw-in for Washington. They cannot move on that baseline. Or actually, they still can because they called the timeout right after the score.
Here's the inbounds play. Looking for a screen to get it to that man, Brandon Roy. Back to Jones. Well, he's not the man Washington wanted with the ball, and he takes a shot that wouldn't have mattered. He'd been fouled, wouldn't have counted. Jones, has he been to the line today? Let's fouls on Brown. D. Brown has his third. And Jones, well, actually a 74% shooter. 4 for 5 on the afternoon. How big are these? He gets 2. As Al McGuire, our old pal, would say, a crier. And this one, huge for both teams with 12.8 seconds go. Leona Romar of Washington. And this one doesn't fall. So a 3 will tie it for Illinois. D. Brown. And time called with 6.8, and Bruce Weber will be able to set up a plan. 3-point game. And welcome back. Our game reset. No timeouts left with 6.4 seconds left. Would you gamble with a foul if you're Washington?
Well, it's strategically sound. Under 5 seconds, I think it's a good move. But Lorenzo Romar does not believe in fouling when you are up 3. He wants to rely upon his defense. He's not worried about being tied. He wants to play sound defense to win the game.
Weber's best 3-point shooter is a freshman, Jamar Smith, but he's been cold. Was 50% on the entire year until today, but he's 0 for 5 from outside the arc this afternoon. Oh, they have to go into the back court. D. Brown, he's going to have to take the shot to tie. And he just missed off the brace of the rim. And Washington is in the Sweet 16. And a heartbreaking end for D. Brown and James Augustine, 2 Illinois superstars. Their final game in that Illini uniform ends in a tough defeat. And high marks for this Washington defense and their rally. But you can't avoid the numbers. Illinois had 28 less free throws and made 19 less as Washington won it at the free throw line.
Washington doing a great, making Illinois go into the backcourt to catch the ball, and then D. Brown, smaller than Jamal Williams, having to shoot over that outstretched arm, just hits the heel of the rim, and Lorenzo Romar is taking his alma mater to the Sweet 16.
He really paused there. He wasn't even sure. He said, I'm going to make really certain that that's the end of this game. That had so many ebbs and flow. Big runs by both teams throughout. Washington leading early. Illinois catching up at halftime. Illinois going ahead by 11. And then the foul difficulties led to Washington's steady trip to the free throw line and eventually a 3-point win. Let's go to Greg Gumbel in New York.